Within the Roman Catholic Church, what is basic to any of our beliefs or whatever it is that we do is our belief in the sacredness of life, our belief that life is from God, and our belief that humanity is sacred. As Isaiah says, we're formed in the palm of his hand, and he called us by name. For within the Roman Catholic Church, sexual behavior is seen as something of great sacredness and of something of great importance. It's seen as two people coming together as one. And within the Roman Catholic Church, the teaching has always been that for that to happen and for that to be, there has to be a love relationship. Without that, it's an emptiness at the end. The love relationship is shown, again, where two become one, where two people come together and join. We believe strongly in that when two people do come together, it is for two reasons. It is because of love and they become one, and it is for the procreation of children, and it is for the enjoyment and the giving of oneself to another. Within the church, we believe strongly in the two people remaining with each other, and we believe strongly in staying together. We proclaim that when two people get, what we also believe is obvious for us, that marriage is the means to sexuality. And the reason we would say that is because for us, when one delves into sexuality, one delves into the very core of who they are. And when one is in a sexual act, one is giving the totality of who they are to another person. And for that not to be in a love relationship is for it to be almost empty, is for it to be almost just making yourself near nothing. And so for us within the Catholic Church, a sense of being with a person for a lifetime, a willingness to have a commitment with that sexuality, a marriage that lasts forever, is a strong and basic teaching within the church. The question comes up about what about abortion, and is it right, is it wrong, is it accepted, is it not? Is it possible if someone is raped? Is it possible if it was an accident and you can't afford the child? We believe, as I mentioned, strongly in the sacredness of life. And the question we would ask is, if you believe that life begins at conception, then how is it that you can say that it's okay to abort a child, regardless of how that child came to be, regardless of whether it was a planned child, or regardless of whether it was a rape, regardless of whether it was wanted or not wanted or anything else? If you believe that it is a life within, then we believe it is a life within, it's an impossibility to say, well, that wasn't done right, so she can be killed. You know, it just doesn't come across to us. Life is sacred. And if you believe it is a life, as we do within the Catholic Church, then the ability or the possibility of taking that life is non-existent. And so we would be strongly against abortion under any circumstances. The other side of it is, within the Catholic Church, if someone does have an abortion, they're not banned, they're not excommunicated, they're not thrown out. You know, hopefully they recognize what it is they've done, and they're willing to ask forgiveness and willing to come back and to make, to lead a good life and to move forward in the future. As far as homosexuality, sexual expression between members of the same sex, the Catholic Church would say sex is between a man and a woman. And I think with the teachings of the Catholic Church is fairly obvious in that. The other side of it is, and I think that this is real and something that really needs to be, and that is that we as members of the Catholic Church are not bedroom police. You know, we don't go out looking to see who's doing what with who. We really believe that that's between a person and their God. We say clearly that sexuality is between a man and a woman. we would proclaim from the scriptures, we would proclaim from church teaching what it is that we believe it to be. But the other side of it is, again, we're not about the business of going into bedrooms. We're not about the business of condemning people and saying, because you're doing that, for sure you're going to hell. We're not about the business of saying that this is, for you, 1,000% wrong, and don't come to church, don't have anything to do with us, stay away until you reform. The reality is, I say, from our teaching of the scriptures, from our understanding of the scriptures, from our understanding of church teaching, we would say no, that it's sexuality is between a consenting man and a consenting woman in a relationship that is permanent. But for someone to do differently is really between them and their God when push comes to shove. The one thing that I think is a strength of the Catholic Church is that we have proclaimed thousands and thousands of people to be in heaven. We've said there's all kinds of saints because of the life they lived. We've said there's all kinds of saints because of the witness that they gave. But the one thing that I think is really positive is that never ever have we proclaimed from Hitler to Mussolini to anybody, Idi Amin or on and on. Never ever has the Catholic Church said for sure that someone is in hell. It doesn't mean we don't believe in it, but we believe strongly that we don't have the right to condemn anyone to hell, that we have certain things that we believe and certain things that we teach. But when push comes to shove, the one thing we don't have for anybody is the right to judge their relationship with God.